This is life in the world's most isolated country, hidden behind the towering Himalayas, where a mysterious kingdom exists, seemingly from another world. Bhutan, a forbidden land, where even the mighty empires of the 18th century were powerless to resist, stands like an impenetrable fortress. The majestic mountain ranges are not only a protective wall, but also a boundary between two worlds. One side representing modern life, the other a land where time seems to stand still. It wasn't until 1974 that this mysterious door opened, but even then, only a select few had the chance to set foot in this sacred land. The rest of Bhutan remains a lonely oasis in a globalized world. Proud of his decision to self-isolate, happiness is more important than money. In Bhutan, success is not measured by money or GDP, but by total national happiness. The government prioritizes the happiness and well-being of its people, measured through four factors: sustainable development, environmental protection, cultural preservation, and governance. Well, they even have a happy minister responsible for ensuring people's lives are always filled with joy. The king of Bhutan once asserted that the happiness of the people is more important than material wealth, and this has led Bhutan to distance itself from consumerism and capitalism. Two small countries with a large scale, Bhutan is only about 38,000 kilometers wide and has a population of about 800,000 people. The people live close to nature, value spirituality, and protect the environment. This is also the first country in the world to achieve negative carbon status, meaning it absorbs more CO2 than it emits. Bhutan completely bans the production and sale of tobacco to protect public health. Bhutan opens up to the world. Bhutan was once very isolated, but from the 1960s under the leadership of King Jamdu Triant, the country began to modernize and open up international relations. In 1974, Bhutan began welcoming tourists with a policy of high-value, low-impact tourism to protect its culture and environment. Bhutan joined the United Nations in 1971 and maintains a policy of neutrality, only having diplomatic relations with a few countries and limiting its involvement in international affairs. Interesting history. The first Europeans to arrive in Bhutan were Portuguese monks in 1627 when they crossed Tibet on their way to India. Later, the British sent envoys to Bhutan but were unsuccessful in establishing formal relations. The belated openness of Bhutan. Bhutan was a relatively slow country in adopting mass media. It wasn't until 1999 that television and the internet were officially permitted, marking a significant turning point in the country's modernization process. Before that, in 1988, Bhutan was also the last country in the world to open up to mass broadcasting. However, despite becoming more open, the government still maintains strict control over broadcast content, prioritizing educational and cultural programs instead of focusing solely on entertainment or commercial content. Cannabis cultivation and the shift in consciousness due to prolonged isolation of the population. Bhutan was unaware that cannabis could be consumed until television and the Qing dynasty appeared. Before that, they only knew to harvest the plant to feed pigs. However, nowadays, consuming cannabis is illegal and can result in imprisonment for up to 5 years. Life was closely connected to nature. Before 1961, Bhutan had no paved roads. People traveled by walking or horseback. Today, transportation is more modern with taxis, buses, and domestic flights. But in remote mountainous areas, oxen or walking remain the main option. The country has no trains, and goods are usually transported by human power or pack animals. 8. Unique postal services. Before 1962, Bhutan used a manual mail delivery system with messengers walking between villages. When modern postal services emerged, the country began using stamps and building post offices, improving communication and connectivity between regions. Paro International Airport, a major challenge. For pilots, Paro Airport is the only gateway. The most important airport to enter Bhutan is the one with the most challenging and dangerous flight path. Located at an altitude of over 2,200 meters, this airport has a runway only about 1,200 meters long, while pilots must adjust their flight path between high mountains. Landing is only possible during the day, and if the weather is bad, the flight will have to turn back. Pilots need special certifications to land at this airport. Two Bhutanese airlines operate flights from here to India, Nepal, Thailand, and Singapore. Bhutanese kings are friendly and modern leaders. The modern Bhutanese king, Chanus, also known as Dr. R, ascended the throne in 2008 after his father abdicated. He is a young, intelligent, and approachable king who studied in England and the United States. His wife, Queen Jessen, is the youngest queen in the world, having married in 2011. Although not closely related to the royal family, she is educated and loves art and sports. They have two sons, Crown Prince Tim Namal and Prince William. 11. Constitutional monarchy and limited power of the king. In 2008, Bhutan transitioned from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional monarchy with the adoption of a constitution. Although the king's power is limited, he still plays an important role in guiding the country and promoting development. The king does not have absolute power but must act according to the provisions of the Constitution and play a role in protecting the welfare of the people. 12. Tigers Monastery, a spiritual wonder. The Tigers Monastery is one of the most sacred places in Bhutan, situated on a cliff 3,500 meters above sea level. It was built in the 17th century around a cave where a guru meditated and taught Buddhism. Legend says he flew here on the back of a tigress. This is a famous pilgrimage site for Bhutanese and international tourists. 13. Thimphu, a peaceful city without traffic lights. Thimphu, the capital of Bhutan, is located at an altitude of 2,300 m, and notably the only city in the world without traffic lights. Traffic control personnel direct traffic at the city's main intersections. The city maintains a peaceful atmosphere with traditional Bhutanese architecture such as Tacit Ron, the king's workplace. One of the highlights is the giant Buddha statue, over 50 m tall, standing atop a hill overlooking the entire city. Other notable locations in Bhutan, such as Paro, Punakha, Holen, and Trongha, also have attractive sites, including the famous Tibetan temples and monasteries. Taigan is home to the Palace of Happiness, and Pholan is an important border crossing with India. Mahayana Buddhism is the main religion in Bhutan. Mahayana Buddhism accounts for 85% of the Bhutanese religion. This is an esoteric branch of Buddhism, particularly popular in Tibet and the Malay Peninsula. Bhutanese people live closely connected to their religion through meditation, pilgrimage, and religious activities. Prayer flags are displayed everywhere, carrying prayers and incantations to bless the environment and all people. J. Khenpo, the revered spiritual leader, is the highest religious leader in Bhutan, honored as the embodiment of wisdom and compassion. He plays a crucial role not only in the spiritual realm, but also in political life, serving as an advisor to the king and government on religious and ethical matters. J. Khenpo was appointed by the king and served for life with the task of maintaining and developing Buddhist teachings in Bhutan. The monastic lifestyle of Bhutanese monks is very different from what we see in the West. They dedicate their lives to study and practice, often becoming monks at a very young age, sometimes as young as 6 or 8. Ordination is seen as a way to have a life full of blessings and spiritual merit. Bhutan has about 8 large monasteries and over 200 smaller monasteries with approximately 12,000 monks. And 5,000 nuns and monks live very disciplined and simple lives, waking up at 4:30 a.m. to meditate and pray, study philosophy and rituals, and participate in manual labor. They live according to strict vows and rules, such as not killing living beings, maintaining purity, and living simply. 18 languages. Songkha, the official language of Bhutan. Although there are more than 20 languages and many different dialects in the country, simple communication phrases like hello is kuzuzeno, how are you is ji chue, and thank you is kin, show respect. Bhutanese people often add la at the end of a sentence when speaking to others. 19. Respect for animals. The compassion of Bhutanese people is deeply ingrained in Bhutanese culture thanks to the influence of Buddhism. Killing animals for food is forbidden, and if they want to eat meat, Bhutanese people must import it from neighboring countries like India. Most Bhutanese people are vegetarian, although in rural areas animals are not allowed to roam freely. Cows are very important to life and are treated with respect and care in cities. People even feed stray dogs, showing their love for animals. 20. Bhutan's strict conservation policies. Bhutan is notable for its strict environmental protection policies. The country has many national parks and reserves to conserve biodiversity, most notably the 500 square kilometers World Heritage Site. The Bhutan Constitution stipulates that at least 60% of the land area must always be covered by forest. This helps protect the habitat of animals and maintain biodiversity. 21. Wildlife. Rare species in Bhutan. Bhutan is home to many rare animals such as the giant Malayan squirrel, the Bengal tiger, the red lynx, and the snow leopard. The snow leopard is one of the most elusive animals, living in high mountain regions from 3,000 to 4,000 meters in cold and harsh conditions. Thanks to their stealth and camouflage abilities, they are very difficult to detect. 22. Bhutanese women play an important role in society. Women in Bhutan play a very important role in society, even having more rights than men, especially in property inheritance because Bhutan has a matriarchal system of inheritance. Women work in all fields from agriculture and education to health and government. In rural areas, they are mainly responsible for agricultural work and household chores, while in urban areas, many women participate in professional and technical professions. 23. Marriage in Bhutan. Arranged marriages and the role of men. Although love marriages are becoming increasingly common, especially in cities, arranged marriages still exist, especially in rural areas. Parents often find partners for their children based on the advice of astrologers. In arranged marriages, men usually participate in household chores, cooking, and repairing clothes, while in large cities, the family model is more Western, with the husband being the breadwinner and the wife managing the household. 24. Polygamy and polyandry in Bhutan. Polygamy was once common. In Bhutan, especially among noble and wealthy families, polyandry is becoming less common and no longer widely accepted. A prime example is the fourth Bhutanese king, Tripit, who had 4 wives. Additionally, the Ruba ethnic group in northwestern Bhutan has a polyandry custom where a woman can marry multiple men. This ensures that children inherit land and livestock. However, these are remote areas where marriage to outsiders is unacceptable. Nevertheless, this custom is gradually fading as younger generations receive better education and move to cities. The literacy rate in Bhutan remains relatively low, at around 70%, although it has increased significantly since 1980. However, among young people, this rate is much higher, reaching approximately 93%. This shows that Bhutan is increasingly striving to improve and expand education for all its citizens. Traditional greetings. When greeting each other, Bhutanese people usually use hands near the chest and a slight bow of the head, like a prayer posture. This is a respectful greeting they call namaste or namas. This is not only an act of showing respect, but also a beautiful aspect of their communication culture. 27. Chewing doma. A characteristic habit in Bhutan is chewing doma, a mixture of seeds, leaves, and spices. This food has a stimulating effect and causes people to spit out red food. However, despite being a common habit, doma is not a healthy food for the long term. 28. Lhasa New Year. The Bhutanese New Year, called Lhasa, is calculated according to the Tibetan lunar calendar and usually falls at the end of January or the beginning of March. This is a major festival lasting about 3 days, during which every family cleans their house to ward off bad luck and welcome good fortune. Traditional foods during this time include fried cakes and sua, which is salted butter tea. People also often hold ceremonies at home and visit monasteries to receive blessings from monks. 29. Birthdays are not a tradition in Bhutan because, based on the lunar calendar, people rarely remember or celebrate individual birthdays. In fact, they consider a person's birthday as the first day of the new year. With their collectivist culture, they don't place much importance on individual celebrations. However, with the influence of Western culture, especially in urban areas, some Bhutanese have started celebrating birthdays according to the Gregorian calendar. 30. Traditional Bhutanese names. In Bhutan, common people do not have surnames. After birth, children are given a name, usually chosen by the lamas based on the birth date or qualities that parents hope their child will possess. Bhutanese names often consist of 2 parts symbolizing positive qualities or natural elements. For example, Tashi, Doi, with Tashi meaning luck and Doi meaning diamond. Names are usually gender-neutral, but sharing, Yan, can be used for both men and women, while Gondon is usually for women. 31. Birds, spiritual birds, are an important part of the culture. Bhutanese astrologers play a significant role in Bhutanese life, particularly in decision-making and predicting future events. They rely on the lunar system and the influence of celestial bodies on a person's birth time. Bhutanese people also believe in reincarnation, and astrologers help determine the reincarnation of spirits and spiritual masters. When searching for a child to be the reincarnation of a deceased master, they consult astrologers to choose the appropriate time and place. Bhutanese traditional medicine originates from Tibetan Buddhism, Indian Avedicious medicine, and Tibetan medicine. Traditional doctors specialize in preparing and gathering natural ingredients to treat illnesses. Due to the importance of this medicine, the third king of Bhutan established the Institute of Traditional Medicine, which combines traditional and modern medicine to care for the health of the people. Bhutanese low crime rate. Bhutan has a relatively low crime rate thanks to its strong community spirit and values. Bhutanese culture is based on total national happiness. Common crimes in Bhutan are theft, drug use, and fraud. Violent crimes such as murder are rare. Mutual respect and solidarity help maintain security and peace in society. The trust dragon is a sacred symbol of Bhutan. The trust dragon, a mythical creature, is a symbol of protection and spiritual guidance. It plays an important role in Bhutanese culture, represented on the country's flag. In its claws are 4 jewels symbolizing the wealth, prosperity, and happiness of the nation. The yellow on the flag represents the civil and religious power of the king, while the orange below symbolizes Buddhism and the spirituality of the Bhutanese people. In traditional architecture, the truss structure is a typical image of Bhutan, combining a central administrative fortress and a Buddhist monastery. These structures reflect the interplay between religion, politics, and society in Bhutanese life. The Banak Dong is called the palace. The Great Happiness River is one of the most famous rivers located at the confluence of the Foru and Mu rivers. It was the seat of the Bhutanese government until 1955. 36. Bhutanese national flower, the blue hyacinth. The national flower of Bhutan is a blue hyacinth, scientifically named Merkon bis. Diana, mainly grows in mountainous areas of the Himalayas at altitudes of approximately 3,500 to 4,500 meters. 37. Himalayan bird. The Himalayan bird is the national bird of Bhutan, symbolizing the protection of the country. In Bhutanese mythology, this bird is considered a protector and a spirit animal of protection and peace. Bhutanese kings wear a hyacinth crown while queens wear a phoenix crown. 38. The takin, a special symbol of Bhutan. The takin, according to legend, was created by Saint Raba. The kly is a special animal of Bhutan. It has a unique shape with the head of a goat and the body of a cow. This species is protected in Bhutan and can be found in the Kaaba at the Phu. 39. Archery national sport. Archery is the national sport of Bhutan, possessing significant socio-cultural meaning. Outdoor archery competitions involve distances between archers and targets exceeding 100 meters, far exceeding international standards. Bows are made from bamboo, although now some are made from kamas. Upon hitting the target, the archery team celebrates with music and cheerful songs. 40. Yeti, supernatural creature. Yeti, also known as Migo, is a mythical creature that Bhutanese people believe can become invisible. In some stories, Yeti is a protector of nature, but there are also stories that Yeti is a dangerous creature. Although there are many reports of Yeti sightings, to date, there is no scientific evidence to prove its existence. 41. Traditional Bhutanese clothing. Traditional clothing in Bhutan is very special and required in official events and public places. Men wear a go, a knee-length robe, while women wear a kira, a long wraparound skirt. 42. Cham dance, religious dances. Cham dances are characteristic religious dances of Bhutan performed during Buddhist festivals, especially the Kuz festival, one of the biggest events, lasting 5 days, and held in Rimbuong. The dancers are usually monks or laypeople who wear masks and elaborate costumes to represent heroic gods and mythical creatures. 43. Bhutanese cuisine, local specialties. Bhutanese cuisine is distinctly different. There are no fast food chains, which contributes to a lower rate of overweight people. The national dish, emi, is a stew with chili peppers and cheese, served with red or white rice. There is also samba, beef stew with chili peppers and radish salad. Samaru, chicken stew with garlic and ginger, and fapa, pork stew with spices. 44. Red rice. Botanic red rice is grown mainly in the Paro Valley. Its special color comes from the minerals in the soil and glacial water. This rice retains its outer bran layer, making it rich in vitamins and nutrients. Fiber and minerals give it a richer flavor and higher nutritional value than white rice. 45. Traditional drinks of Bhutan. In Bhutan, traditional drinks are very special, such as sura, black tea mixed with salt and butter, ara, a distilled liquor made from corn or rice, and banchan, fermented rice or barley liquor. Another drink is ekchan, a specialty of eastern Bhutan made from fermented wheat. 46. Important forts. Located in the center of Bhutan, Trong Sa Trong is one of the largest and most beautiful forts in the country. Built in the 16th century on a hill, this fort controls important trade routes connecting East and West Bhutan. This is also where the Trust dynasty began unifying the country in the 19th century. Trong Sa Trong is not only a political center, but also hosts many Buddhist festivals, most notably the Trong Sa Sechu Festival. 17. Suspension bridges. Bhutan is strongly marked by its terrain with many deep canyons. Bhutan has many suspension bridges, the longest of which is the Baka Suspension Bridge, 158 meters high, decorated with colorful prayer flags. Another historical bridge is the Tatos Suspension Bridge, spanning the Paru River at a height of 2,600 meters, built in the 15th century by a famous Buddhist saint. The majestic mountains of Bhutan. Bhutan has more than 20,000 mountains over 7,000 meters, with the highest being Kailobum, reaching 7,563 meters. This is the highest mountain in the world that has never been conquered. The Bhutanese government has banned all mountaineering expeditions above 6,000 meters since 1994 to protect the sacredness of these peaks, as they are considered the dwelling place of the gods. Dakula meditation. Small temples in the Dakula forest. Dakula is a prominent area with small mounds covered by vegetation forming temples found on the hills. The road connecting the capital Tien Phu and Punakha is a sacred place not only for the people of Bhutan, but also for pilgrims seeking meditation and peace. 50. Bo Burning Lake, also known as Bo Burning Lake, is located in the Tan Valley near Bhutan, and is a sacred site. According to Bala legend, a Buddhist saint saw a treasure hidden deep in the lake. To prove his vision, he jumped into the lake with a butter lamp and emerged with a statue of a celestial being. Since then, this lake has been considered a place of healing and protection. 51. Kichu Temple, the historic Keu Hakan Temple, is one of the oldest temples in Bhutan, built in the 18th century by the Tibetan king Sun Singambo. This king had 108 temples built to subdue a demon hindering Buddhism. A special Shambhu festival is held annually to commemorate this event, including a team dance or naked dance performed in the temple. 52. Kamsung Juli Nam Chan Peace Temple, built in 1999 by Queen Mother as Shingon V, is a temple created to promote peace and stability not only for Bhutan, but for the world. It is a sacred site where people come to seek peace. 53. Bhutan's economy is based on agriculture and energy. Bhutan has a small economy, mainly based on agriculture, forestry, and hydropower. Most people live in rural areas, subsistence farming with crops such as rice, corn, potatoes, and chili peppers. Livestock farming is also very common, especially cattle and sheep. In addition, hydropower plays an important role in the economy, with much of the energy exported to India. 54. Bhutan National Library, a cultural museum. The Bhutan National Library not only houses the world's largest book, the Bhutanese, a visual adventure through the Himalayan kingdom, but also possesses one of the largest collections of Buddhist literature. The library's mission is to preserve Bhutan's cultural heritage and is a learning center helping locals and tourists access global knowledge. 55 unique spiritual retreats in Bhutan. One of the most special spiritual experiences in Bhutan is participating in retreats. These retreats usually take place in peaceful, remote locations surrounded by the majestic scenery of the Himalayas. This is a great opportunity to contemplate divine destiny and connect with like-minded people in a peaceful environment that helps develop spirituality. 56. Planning a trip to Bhutan. If you have decided to go to Bhutan, don't forget to record a video and share your experience. However, before going, there are a few things to prepare. Most tourists, except those from India, Bangladesh, and MIV, need to apply for a visa. Previously, independent travel was prohibited, but since 2022, tourists can organize their own trips. However, the cost can be quite high, with a sustainable development fee of $200 per day, not including food and accommodation costs. 57 rules to note when traveling to Bhutan. In Bhutan, tourists should be aware of certain rules of conduct. For example, do not open large lamps in national parks or religious sites. You should also not take photos or videos of others without permission. If you want to take photos in monasteries, ask beforehand. Bhutan prohibits the sale and production of tobacco, but there are designated smoking areas. Also, if visiting monasteries or religious sites, you must wear long pants and long-sleeved shirts because Bhutan is very committed to environmental protection. Avoid using plastic items. Plastic bags have been banned since 1999. Due to its high altitude, you may experience altitude sickness. Therefore, consult a doctor and bring medication if needed. There are 58 ways to get to Bhutan. Interestingly, you can travel to Bhutan from India if you have an Indian visa or are already there. However, entry from Tibet is not possible. Regarding currency, Bhutan uses the nutcracker, but you can bring US dollars to buy souvenirs or find valuables. Respect Bhutanese culture and religion when traveling. Bhutan should always remember to respect local culture. Avoid discussing sensitive political issues or criticizing the royal family. Bhutan is a spiritual paradise where natural beauty blends with a peaceful lifestyle, expressing happiness in simple things. Music.